Koyaanisqatsi is a documentary piece of filmmaking that's written and directed by Godfrey Reggio that came out in 1982. So Koyaanisqatsi is a film that I've shamefully actually never heard of up until last month, but what I did hear about it is that this entire film is essentially compiled of just moving images and a musical score, and that's how it really relays all of its thematic content and all of its emotion through. And for those who have followed this channel for some time, y'all know that that is right up my alley. Like, I just absolutely admire and love filmmaking that takes more of a visual approach and just has more of an aesthetic approach in terms of what it wants to say about its story or its theme or its characters or emotion. And obviously that got me really hyped to see it. And now that I've seen the film, I'm convinced that once you die, Koyaanisqatsi is a film that you watch until you're reincarnated. Because I truly believe that Koyaanisqatsi is one of the most important, necessary, existential, and human experiences that I've had watching a film in quite some time. And I say important and necessary because I really do think that everybody needs to watch this film, including children. Like, I think every human being on the face of the earth should watch this film. It just truly is a film that I think every conscious agent needs to experience for themselves. And honestly, like, at first, like the first 20 minutes of this film, I was getting a little bit worried because I was afraid it was going to be a little one note and it was just going to have just kind of one singular message to say. And I think that it evolves into something that is much more incredibly nuanced and complex than that. Because I believe that Koyaanisqatsi conveys and exposes a lot of truth about humanity and the human experience overall, whether it be positive or negative and even somewhere in between. Because again, it's all done through aesthetic means, through the visuals and through its musical score and how all of it is edited, directed, and compiled together. But first off, we have to talk about the musical score. The musical score for this film fucking slaps. Like, it is incorporated in such immersive but purposeful ways as well, because it's either fitting to its particular atmosphere that it's going for, or it can be used for a sense of irony throughout the film. And you can tell again that there was just a lot of creativity and a lot of effort being put into how the score was going to sound throughout the film and which pieces are going to be chosen for certain parts. The score just has its own personality in this film. It's its own character. Because again, this is a documentary, so there's no dialogue. There are no, like, you know, human characters that you follow or anything. So the images and the score are characters of their own, and they all have their own personality throughout the film, and what it conveys throughout the film is just, again, it's really thought-provoking. And I just thought that the score and the images just really work together throughout this film, because there's a lot of juxtaposition used in this film as well. Not only like through its score and through its images, but it's also through the editing. And there's also a lot of graphic match in this film as well. I mean, I don't know if it will, like, you know, it'll legally count as a graphic match, but like, for instance, like, there's like a scene where there's a bunch of, you know, people in suits just like cramming into one escalator like sardines. And then the very next shot is just like a bunch of hot dogs being packed into a conveyor belt. And it's just that kind of graphic match. Again, I don't know if that's exactly how you would describe it, but it's that type of creative editing that's incorporated throughout the film that makes it that much more immersive, that much more admirable while you're watching it. And there's this big portion in the second act that is just this incredibly hyperactive, like, sensory overload type moment where the score is moving really fast and the images just keep shooting out at you. And that part was just truly an experience. And it's, again, like one of those reasons why I would say, like, everybody needs to see this film. Because in that part, as I mentioned, like, you know, in the first 20 minutes, I was kind of worried it was going to become one note. But when it builds up to something like that, like, for me, it becomes a lot more nuanced, a lot more complex, a lot more thought-provoking. because you can interpret it in different ways. And the way that I personally interpreted it was that it was actually trying to say a few things at the same time. I believe in one way, it was trying to say like, look at how much we can accomplish as a species. Like, look at all this organization, all this technology, all this cooperation. It's trying to say like, look how far we've come from, making fire in a cave to like now this is what life is. But then like at the same time, it's also saying like, look at how much potential we have, but we're also squandering it by just completely destroying ourselves and being incredibly selfish and greedy. And I just thought it was one of the better moments, even though every moment of this film I thought was really, really immersive and really thought-provoking. But I liked that this film, again, evolved into something that was really interpretive in a lot of different ways and was much more nuanced than what I initially was worried about. But I will say that this film definitely ends on a more disturbing and a more depressing note. It definitely decides to end on something that is quite somber and leaves you a bit sad. But I think it does it in a way to, again, inspire you and encourage you to do better. And it's something that, again, like I really, really appreciated. And it's something that I am really, really happy that I watched. And this is something that, again, you really, really need to watch this and experience this for yourself. Every human being needs to watch this and experience it for themselves, because it's like the human experience in an hour and 20 minutes. Again, no words, no dialogue, completely told through aesthetic means. And this film, again, proves why being able to show things in more aesthetic means can come off incredibly powerful. And to me personally, visually aesthetic films like this can be a lot more powerful than films that have messages and emotion that are conveyed through dialogue. I know that's controversial. A lot of people might think differently, but for me, like, this is the reason why I love filmmaking. Like, it's stuff like this that really encourage me to pursue filmmaking as a career and as an art form. So I'm going to be giving Koyaanisqatsi a 10 out of 10. I'm sorry, I found nothing wrong with this film. I've just been watching a lot of Kino lately, and frankly, y'all should be really happy that I'm having a lot of these amazing film watching experiences. And obviously, I recommend you to watch this film. This is something that I definitely want to own on Blu-ray. I'm not sure there's any special edition of this out. I'm sure it's not on Criterion, even though this would be something that should be released on Criterion. But either way, I'm gonna see if I can find some sort of special edition Blu-ray version of this film, because it's something that I have to own. If you haven't heard of it, I am really glad that I was able to shed a light on this film, because obviously I think it's incredible. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed what I had to say about Koyaanisqatsi, please give this video a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.